Mira lo que se ha...
And we're back again. What's up, everybody? I am alive. I'm back. Welcome to UnEducated Heathens. Tonight, we're going to be talking about freedom of speech and how it impacts our society. All that fun stuff. We're going to do a little bit of an ease-in show on that one and then hit it with a part two later on. I do apologize in advance if you hear me sniffling or coughing. I'm still fighting off the flu that tried to take me out, but I'm here. I'm fucking it up right now. Of course,
So weak.
so
So
weak.
weak.
Whatever. I'm only half alien. But anyways, again, it's your host Frank. Hope everybody's doing well. Here with my lovely co-host, who's 100% alien, Nico. How's he doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm feeling better now, man. Thanks.
So, I want you to, before I introduce anything, it's very important for people to know your actual background. You are half Norwegian, correct? Am I
Mm,
correct? And
yeah,
half perfection, which is Greek, correct?
correct. Yeah, yeah.
How the fuck
I,
did you get the virus, bro? You have Spartan, have fucking Viking.
bro, it's the flu because I live with a bunch of. Well, I can't say that shit on here. You know my usual thing that I go with. Fuck it. I live with a bunch of jungle Haitians, man. It happens. Um, you know,
I
compromised
think
immune
you married,
systems and
since you
shit.
married to her, you're allowed to say that.
Yeah, she's not. She's not. She's civilized. Some of the other
Oh,
folks in the
okay.
house, but we won't get into that.
Awesome.
But yeah, no. This, when you have multiple kids in the house, colds are always being brought in, and that one just happened to hit me pretty well. But I'm looking at Goose, illegal alien. That's funny. Goose, you're the only illegal alien I know and love, sir.
You know what's
Um,
crazy? Goose is actually the real American. I'm 8 times more illegal than him.
I know, wild, wild. There
Wild.
goes that stereotype. Uh, everything going good with
It's
you,
so
buddy?
good.
Everything cool?
Yeah, man, everything's going well. Just here hanging out, trying to get back into the rhythm of things.
Yeah.
Missed you a little bit, just a
Thanks,
little bit.
buddy. Well, I miss you
Now
too.
that
You went on a great adventure and shit. And
you were sick, we did a whole episode on it. It was hilarious.
oh, I know. You're out there turning to
With
Captain Save a Camel
Taliban.
and shit.
I was having a good time with my Taliban friends.
Yeah, man.
They were bad, but yeah, man, everything is good. I'm just, it's good to get back into the flow of things and talk a little bit. This is gonna be a really cool. Basically, I wanna preface this because this is exactly who we are, right? This is gonna be an uneducated heathens type of intro to free speech. We do have a follow up podcast that we're going to go a lot more serious in. So I hope everybody partakes and let's have some fun with it. But yeah, man, world is falling apart, but we're all right, living the
We're
life.
here. Yeah, man.
Right?
We're here. We're here. Vic, yeah, mutt blood seems to be the best thing ever because mutts are the best dogs. Except for the two that, Nico's pure blood and my pure blood dog that we have. Besides that, mutts are the greatest.
I
So I
mean,
can see
mine is
how
like
you,
pure blood. It's a little old white.
yeah,
She's
no.
probably a little bit.
Your dog is an Aryan supremacist. It's okay though.
Probably.
We love Lily. Anyway, so we're gonna get started. Back to the way we used to do things, which a couple just quick news bites. So we're gonna start out with that. First thing that we're gonna talk about is the U.S. is sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine. So those are surface to air missiles, defensive missiles is the majority of what's being sent out. But yeah, I'm okay with this. Like
Oh,
we're
this
already
is
we're already invested in this war, way more than I don't want to say way more than we should be because I feel like the Ukrainians needed help, but at the same time, like we're just getting deeper and deeper into this war, and I'm hearing things on the back end. I talked to a couple of my buddies who still work in the government right now, and they're saying how this administration really doesn't want to pull out of this war because they're making so much fucking money off of it in the back end, which is not why we should be involved in it. We should be involved in it to help the Ukrainian people, but they're turning it into a profit thing at this point. Well, I mean, from the beginning, really, but it's really getting kind of ridiculous now. Where you're talking about the military industrial complex and shit. But yeah, I mean, this is going to help out the Ukrainians with the Patriot defense missile systems. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of the first things that should have been sent over, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. But so here's my issue with what you're sharing right now. And yes, but the military industrial complex is making money regardless, right? They didn't need this war. The problem here is I felt, although I'm not, and I've said a million times, I'm not a fan of this administration at
Mm,
all, a little bit. But I think they've handled this pretty good. And just I watch a lot of European news because I don't trust the news here in America at all.
hmm.
So I was watching an analyst on a Greek channel actually, and they were saying that this makes a lot of sense because right now, as long as Ukraine was getting hit by like the Caliber missiles and the little drones, the U.S. felt that the Hawk systems that we've sent and the NASAMS were good enough, right? And listen, we
Yeah,
can't protect. Nobody could protect the entire country. It is what it is. But they got the SAMP systems from French and Italians,
yeah.
but the reason why the U.S. decided to send these is because we all know that Russia is about to acquire long-range ballistic missiles from Iran. So the U.S. basically told Russia that if you're going to escalate that way, we will escalate this way. Because to be fair, this could end quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have strong leadership to just go in and wipe them out. I have no sympathy for the Russian military, and I don't even think they're that good to begin with.
No,
But
I don't either. And like, I just want to be clear. Like, what I'm saying about like, we're profiting off of this war, or this administration is profiting off this war. This war could have been deaded in about 2 months if we had strong leadership. They could have grabbed Putin and have been like, "Look, what the fuck are you doing? Chill the fuck out." You know what I mean? And gotten this whole thing just to stop.
I
But they
agree.
didn't. They didn't. They just kept pumping money into it to make more money off the back end. Because just like every other proxy war that we've been involved in, we're supplying both sides, and that's not something that's out there. But we are definitely supplying both sides in this case as well.
Well, where are we though? Like that's not
Yeah,
like a
no,
regular thing. It's an
it's no,
adversarial thing.
no, 100%. We're supplying both sides.
But they don't have weapons. What are we supplying? They don't have shit.
We're
Like that's why they're losing on the battlefield quite a lot.
we're supplying fuel to Russia. We're supplying
They don't need fuel from
um
us. They have the largest reserves.
we're supplying them. Why? Yeah, but 100%. We're supplying them fuel. We're supplying them supplies as well with certain things. We're not doing it directly. It's indirect, but it's still
No, I
happening
know, I
through
know.
us.
I think here's where it gets a little complicated, right? There's a lot of biases, and people use confirmation bias to pass their views. But this conflict is one of those really, really rare events in humanity where there's not a secret, as like a secret triangle behind of the Illuminati just pulling strings. Just I know there's back end stuff too, but like just listen to people talk, right? Russians don't believe in the fact that Ukrainians exist. They consider them Russians, and Ukrainians hate the Russians with every inch of their body. So, you know, I don't know. This is a lot because again, in America we have this like really really shitty way about putting politics over reality. Like you know what I mean? I've seen you know congresswomen, Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever her fucking name is, making fun of wounded warriors that were in the U.S., saying that they were just beggars. Like it's shit
Mm.
like that needs to stop. That's unnecessary in my opinion. But hey, give them the missiles. I say give them some fucking F-16s. Give them some A1 Abrams tanks, and let's get this shit over with. Like honestly,
Yeah.
I paid $11 for a fucking meal at Arby's. I am not happy right now. You
Are
talk
you?
shit, but like
Wait. Are you the fucker keeping those assholes in business?
I love Arby's. Love Arby's.
It's
Don't
you
at me.
and it's you and John fucking Morgan. Um,
I will take you. I will take you to an Arby's and we will have a blast. I love
uh,
Arby's.
fake ass Greek Yorker. That's funny. What's
You
up,
know what's
Tap Out Beast?
weird?
What's up, man?
Hey everybody. No, this is Vic. So Victor, who's my brother from another, but he's older than me, but I have to son him like a little brother. He's a purist. Like he can't eat if things are not made 100% to his liking and they don't come from the very well
Wait,
known place.
when you go to Arby's, you order the euro?
I do, but no. I my number I've had before. It's actually not bad. But what I do is I get the
Oh my god!
what is it called? I get the Reuben.
I'm,
I think they have
I'm
a phenomenal Reuben. That's what I get.
Arby's.
Yeah, phenomenal Reuben. Probably one of the best I've had. And I lived in New York. I love the Reuben. And
How much
honestly, you know
time?
what's funny?
How much
The
time do we
the
have?
the gyro is actually not bad, man. And I never tried it. My dad tried it, who's even more of a purist than me. And he was like, dude, he's like, for $5, that's not bad. Pick one up if you're in a fast. So instead of eating McDonald's, I'd rather eat a fast food gyro or gyro, however you want to call it. I
Thank
don't
you.
know.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, we're gonna move on. Yeah, shame is correct. That is the
I will
correct name of the
not
show.
hold on. Just so we clear, I will not take anything from Victor. He's not allowed to speak. He's on silent mode. Motherfucker, and I'm gonna put him on blast right now because I love him. I posted a picture of me eating tacos and he just berated me. And I don't think you understand. You know Vic when he gets emotional, right? Vic Nasty. That's my brother, but when he gets emotional, you can't stop him. So for 4 days, he's like talking trash. He's like, "How the fuck are you getting tacos with red onions? You an idiot." And I'm like, "Bro, that's how they came. They're delicious." And this guy takes me to a place full of tacos. He's like, "Yo, this place is fire, bro. We gotta go." And I'm like, "All right, let's go grab lunch." And guess what they served? Red onions on the tacos.
Do they
So
not have red
all
onions in Mexico?
I don't know. Vic is very anti red onions on his tacos. But I digress. Let's move on. But you know, I had to put him on blast. No, I'm
So,
not.
bro.
No. He took me. He knows. I posted the pictures on the chat.
I think I do remember that actually.
Yeah. He's a liar, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
if Gus is listening, we need your in-house
Expertise.
Mexican. Yeah, we need your expertise on red onions.
Our in-house
Um,
mantequilla.
yeah, or in-house Montezuma. What? All right.
Mantequilla.
So
That is.
the next subject we're going to talk about the World Cup a little bit. I have money riding on this motherfucker, and I'm good right now. I just need Argentina to win, and I get a nice little check.
Are you taking me
So
out if they win?
if they win, sure.
Okay, cool.
I'm
You
watching
know I'm
this
cheap.
from
I just
today.
want an Arby's gyro.
Right.
What
Right.
it was a good game today, and I'm actually very proud of Morocco. I think they played amazing.
Yeah. I mean, for a country that hasn't really been in it, they did really well. They were the Cinderella team this year for sure. I feel like,
Yeah, but
but
it's funny because they have two superstars in that team, and I don't mean like good players. I mean superstars. Hakimi and Ziyech, like these are not average players. They're ballers.
yeah, Morocco
So,
has
but
better
yeah,
food than France. How do you feel about that?
yes, I
Yeah,
don't
I
like
do.
French. I don't like French food at all.
I don't. I agree. All right, Goose.
Okay,
If
Goose is here.
since you're
Yeah.
here, red onions on taco is that a sin or is that acceptable? We need to know so we can figure out what to do with Vic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the Qatar World Cup has been an absolute shit show. I think that a Middle Eastern World Cup will probably never happen again because of this. And I think FIFA is pretty much done.
So I thought of that after the first couple of matches,
Mhm.
and then I stopped reading idiotic Western reporters,
Well, they
and I
killed the one
haven't.
reporter.
No, man, they did not kill him.
They took
I
that
don't know what
motherfucker
happened.
out.
I don't. Yo, but I was in the Middle East. I was like one country over when this whole shit was happening. Like I am telling you, man. We have, and this goes back to our freedom of speech conversation we're gonna have, but we are very, very. unaccepting of other people's cultures. For tolerant people, we don't. They're just, and honestly, if you have some time and you listen to the podcast the other day that we did, they view things very different, and they love Americans. By the way, that's they just hate the government, but they love Americans. They consider us the freest people in the world. They don't hate us, but they have some certain values. There's no difference between what happens in Qatar and what happens in Poland. None. Poland is just happens to be Christian, and Qatar happens to be Muslim. But at one point, if you want to live the Western lifestyle, you're in a Western country, right? No problem. But if you wanna, if they take, there's no crime there, bro. Like, it's insane. There's literally no crime. Like, I would
I'm
rather.
not arguing. I'm not arguing with their way of life, right? I have no problem with the way they live. I've spent time in the Middle East, and I have no problem
Yeah,
with
why?
them or their
How come?
um.
No, the first no. How come?
No. Nice try. I already gave you my stipulations. Um, but I have no problem with the way with their way of life. Their way of life is beautiful in a lot of ways. For the countries that aren't
Yeah,
run by fucking asshole terrorists.
yeah.
But my issue is having a worldwide event in these places,
But why
right?
not?
Because here's the thing: it's the Middle East and well, certain countries and most countries in the Middle East are very strict on their rules, right?
Sure,
That's why they don't have crime, right? Um, all right, but that's why they don't have crime.
sure.
They are very strict on their rules. You don't break them, et cetera, et cetera. When you're having a world, it's like having spring break in fucking Salt Lake City. Like, what are you doing?
Sure, but here's my
You can only
counter to
show
that is
ankles
that,
and shit. Like,
dude, have you seen that Croatian chick? That's what I'm telling you. I'm gonna send you some stuff.
oh, I
It's
know who you're talking about, but I also
yeah,
know about the one chick from Poland. Was she from Poland? I forgot where she
bro,
was from, but they threw her ass in jail.
bro. The guy who ran into the field with the LGBTQ flag, they let him out after a day. Here's my thing: they don't accept it, and it's okay. That's not for us to do it. Like Piers Morgan was saying it. He's like, yo, the world is so hypocrite. The last time that England hosted it and won it, LBGTQ was banned. Like, they'll come around, they'll grow in their own. But when they have to come, I don't think so either. Which is not a bad thing. They let them
Do
have
it
their
wrong.
values. Whatever they want to do is it's up to
Yeah.
them. But doesn't mean I agree with them. Don't get me wrong. But it's coming to in the U.S. right,
Mm.
the World Cup. So how many countries are gonna boycott us because we kill the most babies? How many countries are going to boycott us because we have the largest per capita people in jail? You know what I mean? Like, we're not that like, when it comes to society things, you just come enjoy the game. Now I'll tell you some stats that are amazing. They banned most of alcohol. Fans are having a blast. Everybody, the games have gotten better and better progressively. Like, there's been some
Yeah.
phenomenal games.
Yeah. For sure.
So I think we just need to realize that, hey, so they have the right to be the way they want to be, and we have the right to want to be. They did not lie, they did not lie about who they were or what the rules were. The only thing that they went back on, and we'll be honest, was the alcohol thing. But we knew that when it went there, and honestly, man, they hosted a very good show. People were flying from Dubai
Qatar.
to Doha,
Oh,
and
God.
yeah, dude, a ton of people. Mexican. There was a lot of Mexicans. I know because of the sombreros. There was a lot of Croatians, and I'm telling you honestly, right?
Excuse me.
People were having a blast. They would come back and they would just talk about how great the hosts were, how clean it was, how safe they felt. The women were walking around, nobody harassed them because that's not their culture. So yeah, it's a little different than us. But I was like you. I was the same way at the beginning of this. I didn't even want to watch the World Cup, but being that I went down, I was right by there in Dubai. Like, it changed a lot because talking to the locals and watching the reaction and seeing live videos and stuff, like, people had a blast, and it's not
Yeah, you
even
gotta
over
remember
yet.
though too. Dubai's a lot different than Qatar, though.
Sure, but yes, yes, it's basically South Beach with Utah. You know what I
It's
mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a completely different world. But I'm talking about people who were coming in and out. You know what I mean? They have good relations. It's not
They're
like,
just happy that they can finally get their hands on booze.
Yo, booze are expensive in Dubai, like a lot,
Yeah, they're like,
like a
hey,
lot.
we don't believe in this shit. So if you're gonna drink it, cool, but we're gonna tax the fuck out of you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But I love. Let's not go back to that. Dubai was
I'm not
perfection.
I'm not mad at it. Like, you
No,
know,
but yeah, I think when we look back, this is gonna be a great World Cup. The only thing that sucks is the some of the refereeing has been horrible,
nah, I'm not gonna get into
horrible.
that. I've literally watched like a little bit of the round of the after they got out of the group stage. That's pretty much it. But
No, I'm
I've
with
been
you.
busy. I've been busy dying with the flu, but I'm alive now, so we're good.
But
Um,
did you die though?
no, I didn't. I didn't. But it sucked either way.
No, I feel
Uh,
you, man. That does suck.
Next story: Twitter suspends the. First of all, so Nico, you did the note this week, and I just want to say, um, this sentence was fucking dog shit that you
Yes,
wrote.
I was driving and I
Twitter
wanted to get it
suspends
done.
person
How are you
who
gonna
tracked
hold on, hold on, hold
Elon
on,
now
hold
suspended.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. How you gonna throw me under the bus? I was driving. Your
Mhm.
beautiful, sexy behind was going through an interview. You were prepping, so I was like, "Let me do everything because I wanted you to focus." And now you're
No, I
gonna throw me under
appreciate
the
you.
bus?
No, I
No, no,
appreciate you
no,
for
no.
that. No,
No
no, no, no.
love for
But
me. You've been
no,
gone
no.
for 2 weeks, and this is how you treat me. We're
This
going to
is
a
how
therapist. You and
this
I are
is
going to a therapist.
no, bitch. This is how you know that I love you because I'm not gonna let you be worse than you. I'm not gonna let you be anything but perfection. So no, yeah, I'm
Okay,
gonna
okay.
drag you for this. Twitter, oh motherfucker.
Twitter suspends person who tracks Elon, not suspended. Yeah, that was crazy.
That's just a bad
Yeah, that is
sentence.
just that's a horrible. I don't even remember
I
writing it like that. I
I
meant to
expect
write.
more from you.
Yeah, I expect more from myself. I meant to write Twitter suspended the person who was tracking Elon Musk's personal jet,
Yeah.
which I find hilarious because so here's the thing. When I chose that topic for us this week, I was ready to go in on Elon. Like, just because you own Twitter, you can't shut people that you don't like. But he shared a story on Twitter about somebody following his kid, his
Yes.
the ex little X, whatever his name is. They followed him,
Kyle.
stopped the car, jumped on top of the hood to terrorize the kid because they thought Elon was in there. And
Mhm.
like he's like that's what little X, yeah, he's like that's why I don't want people. And he said he will ban anybody who tracks people in real time.
No, and I think that's fair though.
I think that's fair too. I didn't. I was kind of hot headed because I was like, hey man, like you can't just choose. You know what I mean? Free
I,
speech is free
what?
speech.
Wild.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I think now that I read a little bit about it, I think it makes a little more sense.
Look, I think Twitter should basically be a fucking free for all. But at the same time, like if you're threatening somebody's safety or you're posting something that threatens somebody's personal safety, like a direct threat of it, like this was, then nah, we're not. That can't be allowed because that's how motherfuckers get killed and shit.
Yeah, and honestly, he sound like the thing is that there's some history here, and I think that's why people are making fun of him because he tried to give this person money and hire him to work for him, so he
Yeah,
stops tracking his plane. But
yeah.
I get it. I get it. I mean, listen, I got banned on Twitter for saying something not very nice to a congresswoman. But again, like it is what it
Did
is.
you did you
I
ask
meant it.
did you ask AOC to see her tits again?
No, I saw them once and I'm still throwing up.
That's funny.
Yeah, I can't
I'm
stand
gonna
this.
add a quick
Maybe,
story.
actually, you know what though? That's a great point. We should definitely have AOC on this. If we're talking about an uneducated heathen, she would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess maybe. I mean, I think she has great tits, but um,
Really?
that's
She looks like a
yeah.
horse.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm not looking at her face.
Oh, okay. Listen, and for people who are gonna get
I
very
saw the
upset,
video. I saw the video of her doing. She was doing like an ad for some college. I think it was University of Massachusetts or something, or Boston College, something like that. She had this
okay.
tight little collegiate shirt on, and I was just like, oh, yeah, Boston, yeah.
Boston. Yeah, no, just so people don't get upset, I also think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a moron just as well. So that don't it's not a one side thing. There's
We are
stupid people
equal.
everywhere.
Yeah, we're equal opportunity
Haters.
bashers. Yeah, haters,
Yes.
bashers, whatever. I'm gonna throw another story in there, and Vic, I'm sorry for the left curve,
I
left
can
toe.
guess. I can
What?
guess.
What?
Serbia, Kosovo.
Nope.
Okay,
But we can do
surprising.
that one too, though.
I don't
Yeah,
want to do that one. Not
not yet.
it's
I
not
actually
yet.
actually
Yeah.
have a bigger story for that. Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Ew.
Yeah.
Can you guys take that off my screen, please?
But no, it's a sport. It's actually sports related. I know. I don't think you like this guy too much, but he happens to be my favorite NHL player. Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Ovechkin just broke 800 goals, 800 career goals. He is one away from tying Gordie Howe, and he's 93 away from tying Wayne Gretzky's all-time record.
I have an
Uh,
actual follow up to that. Why would I not like Ovechkin?
because he's Russian and he's cool with Putin.
Yeah, but like he's still a great player.
He is, and he's actually a really nice guy in person. I've heard no bad things about him. Period. But I know that you hate Vladimir Putin,
Pooping,
justifiably
yeah.
so. Justifiably so. Like I'm not mad at that, but I know him and Ovi are buddies. But the
So,
Great Eight
but
is my favorite player, and he
is he really?
is yeah, he's my favorite player. He's always has been. Always has
Oh,
been since
okay.
2008, bro. I love the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are my team. They are my that's my team, and that's who I'm riding with to the end. But Ovi's my favorite player. He's always I just love the way he plays. He plays physically, but that motherfucker can dance when he needs to on the ice. But yeah, he had a hat trick the other night. Scored 798, 799, and 800 in the same game. So one more, he ties the great Gordie Howe, and then probably in the next season or two, he's going to end up breaking Wayne Gretzky's record.
We'll see.
He'll be
How
the
old is he
all time.
now?
Oh, God, he's pumping 40.
Is he 40 already?
He's pumping 40. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know. We'll
look it up
see. I
right
don't see
now.
him breaking the record, but
He's already said he's going to play until he breaks it. Yeah, he's 37.
so he has a few years.
Yeah, well, I mean, fucking Yaromir Jaeger's still playing. He's
Yeah.
50.
Is he still playing?
Yeah, he's playing for the club that he owns
Oh my.
in
Yeah, he's not
wherever
playing in the
the fuck he's
NHL.
from. But yeah, I mean, he played in the league till he was 45.
Yeah, he was a good player too, but he was
Yeah,
a
he was
Ranger.
solid.
So
He was an Iron Man. Yeah, man. But
I can't like him though. He
who?
gets no
Why?
love.
Oh, because he's a
He was
Ranger.
Ranger. Yeah, I can't fuck with the Rangers. Come on,
You don't
have some
even watch
respect.
hockey like that.
That's nonsense. Nonsense.
You don't even watch hockey like that. By the way, did you see the post I
Nonsense.
sent you?
No. Which one?
The post about how to make soccer better.
Yeah, that was stupid.
For you who don't know, the post is basically the ways to make soccer better is the field's too big, you got to make it smaller. There's too many guys out there. Knock it down to 5, and then put ice everywhere. Um, we
You apologize
apologize.
completely.
No. It's called soccer. I said what I said. If you want the right to call it football, we can fight. We can wear gloves and everything. But no, it's soccer. Football is
Completely fictional. Oh, that's some funny shit.
don't impose on my free speech, Vic. Speaking of which, segue Sally over here. Yeah, so let's kind of get into the main topic tonight. We're going to talk about free speech. Like I said, we're going to kind of ease into this topic. It's a very deep topic that can be taken multiple of ways. So, Nico, do you want to start with what free speech is by definition in the Constitution?
Well, sure. Let's read the exact word for word definition. Hold on.
Oh, it's so funny that you mentioned that because I have it pulled up already.
So go
Um,
ahead.
So, what free speech actually means, the First Amendment explained Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the free speech, abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Um, Freedom of speech is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual or community to articulate their opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation, censorship, or legal sanction. Um, I feel like as time goes on, uh, especially lately, I feel like that we're losing this little by little. right? People are getting doxxed, people are getting canceled for what they have to say. And I think it's very dangerous, very slippery slope, whether you agree with somebody or not, to just straight up, out them out for what they say is a very, very scary thing, no?
It is, and I agree with you. But I have some grievances because I'm running into a lot of shit now where I'm like, it's a little crazy here and there, and maybe it's a personal thing. I'm not perfect. Maybe I'm allowing my personal bias and feelings to get in the way. But
Mm.
there should be some consequences for shit you say, right?
Well, so here's it. Wait, let's back up though, right? Let's
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
stop there. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequence.
But doxing is a consequence, and you just don't like that concept. So if I say, for example, like everybody who wears a hat is a bitch ass dude, you know what I mean? And
Mm.
you work for a hat company, and you're like, well, I'll never work with Nick. That's a form of doxing me for expressing my opinion. Now I know it's a stupid argument, I get it, but here's my thing: is like we've gotten to the point where we've gotten so sensitive as a community
Mm.
that we cannot find the principles or the correct way to basically be like, hey, this is crossing the line, or hey, this is just freedom of speech. And I'll give you two examples, right? Dave Chappelle says a lot of crazy shit, but Dave Chappelle is exercising freedom of speech and he's having fun with it. Then on the other side, you have somebody like Kanye who says some outrageous shit, and I'm like, yeah, you should have the right to say that, but at the same time, like, Hitler was a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to respond to that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
especially, I don't know if you know this about me, but most of my family was murdered by the Germans, like by the Nazis. They hated the Greeks. I mean, I still have photos of the bridge where they hung my great grandfather. Like, it's not, maybe I'm taking it emotionally. I agree. I'm not and his beef wasn't. He hates the Jews. He doesn't hate the Greeks, so I'm safe. But at the same
Right.
time, there has to be some way of I don't know because I'm against what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like I'm very conflicted.
What happened? Kanye's vow of silence. I was looking forward to it.
Should we take a break?
Kanye should take a break. I don't know. Ever since his mom died and he married a Kardashian, he's just been fucking flirting with the deep end of the spectrum, man. It's kind of
Mhm.
wild, but that was one of the reasons. He was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show in the first place. Because he's saying a lot of fucking with just wild shit, and it's like, look, I don't have a
But
problem with
even
say what they're saying, but go ahead. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no. But to your point, right? And I want your thoughts on this. That's why I bring it up. But like even with Kanye, right? We're just looking at the crazy shit he says, but some of the stuff he says is very accurate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll give you an example. He said that Jewish people run the showbiz. Like, of course they do. That's not a negative thing. They do. Like, if you don't think that there's a
Yeah,
huge Jewish community,
I don't really understand
remember
why
Dave
that's
Chappelle, right?
I don't understand why that's
Remember
controversial though.
but that's where it all started, and then he became defensive like a lunatic, right? Like a person who has no brain, and then he
Mhm.
started saying shit like Hitler was great, and the two don't mix. You know what I mean? Like it's different to say,
Yeah,
hey, Jewish people got together after the Holocaust and they were like never again, so they got together, they got stronger, they built up a community. Now they have a whole country. The country, if 10 million runs the world, like they have a great military. Nobody fucks with them. That's a credit. Do they control the show business? Probably do. Like, of course they do. They have a
I
lot
mean they
of
do.
money in there.
Yeah, yeah,
That's not a
sure. I mean,
negative thing. That doesn't mean that
no.
they're bad people. That means they control that. But like, his obsession with Nazis being cool and forgive Hitler and shit like that is just like Jesus Christ, man. But here's another thing. If he never said those things out loud, we would never would have known who he was.
That's why it's important though too.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
that's
when
true.
people under the Trump administration, people were complaining, oh, he brings all the racists out, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a bad thing
Yeah, no.
because if somebody is racist as shit, right? But they're not comfortable saying this shit out loud, and then somebody in the public figure, no matter who it is, makes them comfortable saying that. That actually, I'm cool with that because now I know that you're a piece of shit and you can't hide it because you've already said it and put it on blast, right?
M-
Now I know who's
yeah,
to go to when we start the purge. Like I understand now.
yeah.
I don't need to guess. You know what I mean?
Like where
Um,
you go.
Yeah, but like what
I'm
go ahead.
no, I'm just saying I'm like this is why we decided to ease into it because the last month or so, my views on freedom of speech have been a little shocked, and I don't, and I still like to the core believe that you should be able to say whatever you want, but I've seen some stuff that is super detrimental, and I never realized that certain speech could be very, very harming. Like for example, I'll give you an example. Like I used to really enjoy Tucker Carlson, right? Because I watched him the first time I ever saw him. He was doing a debate with that clown from Young Turks, right, or something. And
Shank
the
Yeager,
dude,
whatever the fuck his
yeah,
name is.
whatever. Yeah. So he made a point. I don't remember very well. He made a point, and Carlson Tucker was like, "Oh well, you're right. I'm wrong." And I was like, "Holy shit! Like that's awesome. Like he knows. Like he's willing to learn, right?"
Hmm.
But his rhetoric lately has been so detrimental to the cohesiveness of the country, and it's a complete lie. Like it's like nobody
What has he
could
been
check the
saying?
guy.
Um,
I'm gonna focus a little bit on the Ukraine thing, right? Like Ukraine is Nazis. They're not Nazis. That's never been proven. The stupidest thing ever. They were destroyed by the Nazis, and on top of it all, they confused nationalism from a poor, corrupt country into full blown Nazism. There's a lot of nationalism that became after 2014 when Russia started fucking around with Donbass. Like you can't be that stupid to think that one day Ukraine just started bombing their own city that they were occupying. You know what I mean? Like
right.
they
Yeah.
had an army. They got an army from somewhere, and that army came from Russia. So, the other day, the one of the biggest detriments to Ukraine has been the Russian Orthodox Church. So Zelensky, the president, banned that church. So instead of being honest about it and saying that, he said he's banning Christianity. There's a lot of stupid Christians in this country, and I'm a Christian, but there's a lot of idiotic Christians in this country who just listen to Tucker Carlson and they think that he's the Messiah. That's
Right.
detriment, right? Because now you're making people. Now you have idiots that come out and they say, "Well, you helping Ukraine, you're a traitor," or we're just stealing money, or all this nonsense that just doesn't have face value. The other day he said something crazy. He said, "Oh, another thing is like, well, Zelensky's a dictator." And I was like, whoa, I've never heard that. He won 76% of the vote because he was Russian speaking. And even those areas on the east voted for him because they thought he could bring more peace, right? Because he was originally Russian speaking in Ukraine. So he said, and I was like, why do you say that? And I'm watching the show, and he's like, because he banned opposition parties. So I was like, oh, that's bullshit. That's a terrible thing to do, right? So I was like, let me look into this because if that's the case, that's a bad sign. I'm open to
Mhm.
ideas, only to find out that he banned four pro-Russian parties that were actually collaborating with Russia.
Mm.
But context
So
matters, and
it's
unfortunately, people
yeah.
will not do the
So you
research.
cannot.
Our country has gone. I don't know whose fault it is, but our country has gone to shit. Nobody wants to read anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other topic we can dive into. That's our wonderful education system. Just being like, yeah, fuck it. Um. So going along those lines, right? I agree with you. I've always, I don't want to say I've always had a soft spot for Tucker, but I felt like he got more heat than what he should have for a long, long time. You
I
know what I mean?
agree.
Because
Yep.
and I also remember too, you're talking about the guy who has the largest viewership on news, cable news, right? So
Period.
a lot of this is character.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that the rhetoric is excusable at the same time, though. And I
Sure.
think when you start, if I go on the news tomorrow, right, and I'm like, hey, the sky is red, it's not blue. All you people who thought it were blue are stupid, right? And then a group of people are like, yeah, he's right, the sky is red. We should fuck these people in blue who believe the sky is blue. We should fuck them up. I never said that shit. You see what I'm saying? I never said that shit. I just said they're
So
dumb.
so here's
But
the thing,
this
though.
this is the problem. This is what I'm getting at, though, right? Having rhetoric that will, or saying something, but whether it be true or false, that will ignite people and to take action on that, especially if it's false, on that false statement, is where you have that issue of like, hey, should you be able to say this, basically, right? That's where it comes down to the freedom of speech question being like a God-given right? Because what Tucker's saying is false, kind
Yeah.
of. It's a
No,
half
a hundred
truth.
percent.
No,
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 it's
it's a
no
half.
truth.
No. It's a half truth. Let's be with the example that you just used. It's a half
Yeah,
truth.
well, because yeah. I get what you're saying.
That's what I mean. It's a half truth, but the half truth is a whole lie,
Correct.
right?
No,
And
I
that
understand
is
what you're saying. Go ahead.
that is where it becomes dangerous because now it's painting Zelensky as this person who as a dictator when he's not. He's banning these parties in order to secure Ukraine,
Correct.
right? But if I get out there like Tucker did and said, hey, he banned these four parties and just leave it at that, full stop, yeah, it gives the wrong impression. And that's where freedom of speech can become dangerous. My question to you, though, is how do we fix that? Is this something that we police where if we don't have freedom of speech, it has to be regulated? Or is it one of those things where it's, the the famous quote, I'd rather live, what is it, I'd rather oh, okay, this is, sorry guys, this is my flu brain kicking in. I'd rather live with dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery. I believe it's something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm very lost. My if you asked me 1 month ago, my answer would have been like, you can't regulate free speech. That's unacceptable. That's then it's not free speech. Then it's regulated speech. You know what I mean? I can't deal with that either. But I don't know. I guess the word that I envision us being in that would have free speech, it just doesn't exist anymore, and
Yeah,
it
it was Thomas
sucks.
Jefferson, by the way, who said that.
Okay,
Is I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery.
you know what I mean? Like, and I don't disagree with that. It's just I don't know because it's getting, dude. I know people who don't talk to each other because of politics, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, shit. I don't talk
it's
to family
actually really
members. How many people lost friends and family when Trump got elected?
a lot, and that's where it all started too. It's just that we used to be able to say, "Hey, man, I don't like the policies of this person." You know,
Yeah,
we used to be able to have these conversations and disagree and have a beer and then call each other a derogatory name and just be like, all right, that's cool. It is what it is. You know, friendship stuff. Now it's like, you know what's crazy, man? Like things that didn't matter before in terms of freedom of speech now are shocking.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm gonna give you an example, and I think Victor's gonna get mad at me for this, right? But
Is it
me
the
and
red
Victor,
onions thing again?
no. We were driving, and he said something, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit. We were driving, and it was me, him, and Maria, my daughter, and we were putting her up with some like cool music, and we're listening to some rock, and she was rocking out, she was loving it, right? So Uncle Vic had the good tunes, and then he goes to me, and I mean, for people who don't know, Vic knows a lot about music, and when it comes to music, the guy is like a fucking encyclopedia, right?
Yeah,
So that's why this
Wikipedia.
made it, yeah. So he goes to me, he's like, man, he's like, have you? I heard this lyric the other day on Money for Nothing. I was like, oh, did he say that? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And on that song, he uses the F word as in to describe a gay person. The word
Mhm.
faggot. I don't, that's just the word that it was used. I'm not using it towards anybody, but he was even shocked. Which and Victor's older than me. He's been in the hood in New York. That word was just like thrown around to people who weren't gay, right? And we have gotten to a point where our society has softened us up so much
Mhm.
that everything now that comes out of your mouth is offensive. I'm not saying
Yeah,
Victor thought offense to it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
I,
just saying that
I understand.
it came to him and he was like, "Oh my god, he just dropped the F word like hard," and I was like, "Yeah." So you know what I mean? Like
Well, so to
we
kind of go along those lines, right? No. To kind of build on that example, the
the
hard
hard
F.
F, yeah.
um, I got written up one time at a job when I was working on cars and shit, right? Because I had said something and I'm like, hey, where's the retard chip in this engine? Because that's what I've always grown up with it being called the retard chip. Because what it does is it retards the engine, right?
I'm
And
sorry.
man,
I'm gonna. That's. It's just. I'm trying really hard not to laugh. This is the funniest shit ever.
Well, no, that's so like in NASCAR even, right? Because you know in NASCAR they'll have a 1500 horsepower engine, but they put they used to put a plate on it, a plate on the engine so it couldn't get as much airflow and build as much horsepower to make it more even, and it was called the retarder plate. That's what it was called,
Okay.
right? So a lot of cars, engine, your dashboard will say, what does your dashboard say on your car? 140, 160?
180.
180. There is a retarder chip in your engine. Your car will not go 180. It
No, of
won't.
course not. No, it's a
Right. But
fake
it's
number. Yeah.
because of that chip, right? Now they changed it. It's a governor chip or a governor plate. But
Oh,
back in the
okay.
day, it was called a retarder chip or a retarder plate. I got in trouble for saying
Mm.
that. And I was like, when the fuck did retard become a bad word? It's descriptive, right? I didn't know this. I'm not up to
Hold
date
on,
on
hold
woke
on.
shit,
See, this is
but
where free speech goes haywire. Did you just say the word retarded is descriptive?
it is
I
descriptive.
I love it.
It is descriptive. I look at my kid all the time, like, why are you acting like a retard? And my kid's not retarded,
No,
right?
that's
Or
so
touched. I don't
bad.
know. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry if I'm offending people. I don't know. I'm sorry,
I
mom.
love it.
Anyways, but um, going back to freedom of speech, he was a retard. Yes.
What
Croak out from coughing right
Man,
here.
I'm getting a little bit of your cold, bro.
I haven't even seen you, bitch. It doesn't
Yeah,
go
but
through
you
the
gave it to me.
interwebs.
You don't know that.
I'll give you something else, Poppy.
The Matrix.
Yeah, right. But no, going back to what we are talking about, like especially like freedom of speech, I think a lot of it has to do not so much sensitive. I mean, sure, in some cases, people have gotten more sensitive because our society has gotten more sensitive. Our society has gotten softer. Let's be
Yeah, for
honest,
sure. But that's
right?
by purpose, though.
Right, but well, I think it's by purpose partially, but I think it's natural at the same time, right? You know the old saying of good times breed soft men breed bad times breed hard men bring good times, etc. Right? And I think
Yeah,
I think for a long time we've had very good times in this country, and it's made a lot of people soft. It has, and it's part of that cycle. And then on the other hand, like not to like bash on liberals, but liberals are like it's called a bleeding heart liberal for a reason, right? They're more in tune with like peace, love, and hair grease and all that shit, right? It's just the way it goes, and that's what's popular. Or that's the majority a lot in this country right now, especially with the young folks.
yeah. I
And
think with that, it's
I think people have gotten dumber too. I think they've gotten dumber, and they're just like, yeah, this seems true. It's on Facebook.
listen. The thing is, I don't know. So here's my view on that: is that I think that hold on, I think
I think
enable
Stars is
receptiveness
right.
of the
Yeah,
microphone.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
So
think
so
that's
my
fucking
thing is
wrong.
like we've watched a country and a society go full blown crazy on rewarding emasculated men.
Yeah,
Masculinity became toxic. Masculinity is the reason why our race has survived. And this
right.
is nothing against, like me, man. I have a wife. I have a beautiful little girl. Like I don't think of them any lesser. That'll be an idiotic thing to say. But
Mm,
you need a masculine male figure into the house, into the home. A provider, a protector. I don't know. I see these things, and to me, I think it's a little crazy. I have friends who spend more time on the mirror than their wives, and I have I
definitely.
have I have men who are more offended than their wives. Like it's like, oh my god, you can't say that. Like, we're being told what to like, not to like, a healthy, embrace your body, everything. So, to that point, to that point as well, like you have people like Lizzo, who's a phenomenal artist. There's nothing bad we could say about
Super
her, but
talented. Super talented.
super talent, dude. Her talent is like she's a phenomenal artist, and her music is dope as shit. But and I'm happy she's happy in her skin, but she's promoting an unhealthy lifestyle that hurts her people. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm big. Like my belly is ridiculous. I'm not one to preach about health and stuff, but we've been told that you know you masculinity is toxic. What is toxic about masculinity? Are there bad guys out there? For sure, but I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I think you emasculate people, and there's nobody there to be like, hey, this isn't this isn't something we need to be you know what I'm saying? Something that we need to be upset. Sorry, a bunch of comments came in and I couldn't multitask. I was like, what the fuck? But what I was trying to say is that, back in the day, you had a strong figure
Perfect,
in the
right?
home. You had a male in the home that could tell that could have the conversation like this is not something to get offended with. But
Right.
also because you and I had that level of respect with each other, I might
Hmm.
have been a little more careful of what I said in my freedom of speech out of respect for you. I could honestly tell you, and I hate, and I hope I don't. I might come off a little rude. I don't respect 95% of the people I meet.
Mm.
People make fun of me. I've shared this before, and I've shared this at work too. And people were like, "Yo, you're an idiot." I wake up every day and I look in the mirror and I'm like, everybody you're gonna meet today is gonna be a piece of shit, and you're better than everybody. And I don't do it to hype myself up. I set myself up for the disappointment of the people I'm going to meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know it sucks, but it's true.
Yeah. But going back to the comments, right? Vic was like, it's not just her people, it's about big women, period. And Stars said exactly, I watched Owen's clip also on Lizzo and agreeing with Vic. And it's one of those things where it's like, look, if you're to kind of build off of what you were saying on Lizzo, and then we'll kind of push forward, but like, hey, if you're happy and you're in the way you look and your body and everything, that's great. More power to you. The problem is that by promoting this and telling people it's okay, you're killing them.
Yes, and to your point, because I think that's a phenomenal point that you just made. I have never, and you guys know me, I have never said that I have ever in my life found the Victoria's Secret model attractive, because
It's too
they're also
skinny.
to the other extreme.
Yeah.
I'm not saying any other thing is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the Living
So
King is a piece of shit, Vic. Like
yeah,
he
Vic,
is
like
a
I don't know why
absolute
you.
piece of shit. I don't know why you brought him up. You're fucking derailing the show to bring up this asshole. No, I'm joking. But no, the
No, I'm
Liver
just
King
saying,
is,
but like
is
we've
no, no. But
never.
the Liver King is the exact is the opposite of Lizzo in this case, right? Oh, live by the 9 ancestral tenets and eat raw meat, bro. If you don't shut the fuck up with your $20,000 a month steroid habit,
There's I don't see this is so this comment bothers me in a level. It's like you can't talk about Lizzo, you gotta bring Liver King into it. And it's like we're fair. He's a piece of shit too. And you know why he's a piece of shit? Because he knows that all the stuff he preaches have no basis. And
it's
honestly,
bullshit.
they did a test on eating liver and it's stupid. And Piers Morgan, right? Who's the alpha of all alphas, right? I don't look at Piers Morgan and get scared. He out ate him on his show. He ate more liver than him. Piers
Yeah.
Morgan, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like, come on.
yeah, no, I mean livers. To kind of like sidetrack on that for a minute, liver is literally the best cut of meat you can have nutrition wise. It has more
You don't have to eat
vitamins,
it
more.
raw.
No, you don't. I cook it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vic's right. He's a Brit. Of course he did. Just like the way they drink, they have to drink heavily because their food is such shit in England. Anyways,
No,
um,
I like food in England.
yeah. Well, you have a shitty taste in food. Um,
No, food in England is good.
no, it's not.
Give me a shepherd pie, fish and chips. I'm good. I
You're
like
out of your
pies.
mind. You also, yeah, you also like Arby's gyros.
Have you had one?
Me? No, I have respect
Yeah.
for myself.
You don't have respect for you. I lived in Greece for a quarter of my life, so I know where they come from. And I'm telling you, they're decent. Are you expecting to go to Arby's and get a gourmet, like that it is like from back home? No, but it's actually pretty fucking good. It's better than most places.
I'll take your word for it.
No, I'm gonna take it now. We're gonna
No,
videotape it. Yes, I will put guys. I will see him sometime in a couple of weeks, and we will post a live of him eating it, so we see his reaction.
I'm getting indigestion just thinking about it. I respect what I put in my body, sir.
I've seen what you put in your body. You're okay. You'll be alright.
Yeah, it's true. I drink like an asshole, eat like a piece of shit. By the way, we're going
Yeah.
hunting next year. I hope you're
Yeah,
ready.
I'm down.
We're
Venison
gonna
is the
go
best.
kill some. Oh, we're not going hunting for venison.
No, no deer.
No, we're going for
What are we
ribeye in the
hunting?
sky, baby.
Okay.
Sandhill cranes.
Mm.
You know the big ugly cranes that be walking around?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
They
they're
taste
actually
good.
fun. They're actually fucking delicious. They're called the ribeye of the sky.
Okay.
Yeah, they're delicious. We can go out to Oklahoma and kill like I think
Well,
there's eight of them. 8 of them.
I have family in Oklahoma. We could go whenever you want.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll bring Vic along too, so he can do his "What's on Your Plate" with Sandhill Crane.
But Vic doesn't like animals being dead or guns.
Where does he think his food comes from?
No, I'm kidding. He actually likes both. He only likes meat and he loves guns. He's a weird
Yeah,
liberal, that guy.
yeah, he is right. I want to go hunting. Goose, you're. We'll think
Do they
about it.
give? Can Mantequilla get permit for a
Hold
weapon?
on, hold on, hold on. I'm gonna reach, okay? I would have rode
Weapon?
that camel. I would have rode that camel, and then I would have given him a cigarette afterwards and taken a picture with him, made him look like Joe Cool. So fuck you. That I'm gonna let my animals. I will grab a sandhill crane and I will break its neck.
First of all, I think you missed the point where I said you like guns and you would definitely go hunting, but you are a liberal and it's okay.
Now when it comes to hunting, let's go.
No, I know I said that though. I prefaced that.
You know why he likes hunting? Because it translates directly to food, and Vic loves food.
Yeah, he does. That is true.
Yeah, that's why we love Vic, because we know every time we go over to Vic's house, we're about to be fed.
Amen.
Right, you are.
Yeah. You got to talk to me in that Barry Manilow voice from now on, Vic.
Yeah, that's actually not bad, right? That's the new voice.
Yeah,
I figured that out last night. Bring the mic real close and talk real low, almost baritone. But hi, everybody.
Like this.
Vic's over here making my junk wiggle. Freedom of speech, folks. We can say shit like that.
So here, yeah, that's freedom of speech at its best.
Yeah. I think with freedom of speech, right, and I'm gonna kind of get back to that a little bit, because I want your opinion on something with Frankie's PB Twitch. It's all capitals, Goose, all capitals. Put respect on my dick. But with that, right, freedom of speech with consequences.
Sure.
Right. Now, I know we had talked. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the capitals. I know we had spoken earlier, and I mentioned like people getting doxxed for saying things. Right. I think that my biggest argument with that, and what I fail to elaborate on, is getting doxxed for what they're saying when what they're saying isn't really a doxable offense. Right.
No, I agree with you. People shouldn't be doxxed,
Like,
period. But I'm just.
Well,
It
no. Like
bothers me, you know?
if you're saying if you get on Twitter and you're like, yeah, this person should fucking die. No. Dox the shit out of that person. I'm cool with that, right? Because you're
What
directly
if that
threatening.
other person said, no, hold on a second. Okay, fair enough, right? But what if the person that you just said that to just said that he likes to have sex with underage kids?
Yeah, no, dox that person too.
No, but
Dox
you
both
get what
the
I'm saying? Like,
motherfuckers.
at one point, can you have, I'm playing devil's advocate to my own thing. It's like, I've seen people get doxxed because somebody posted about, sleeping with children and they were like, yo, you're a pedophile. And then they get doxxed for hateful speech. That's not hateful speech. You should die if you're a pedophile. We should be able to say that freely.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that. But
it's so situational. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's basically the point I was getting at, right?
Yeah.
How do we do this as a society? How do we police ourselves?
I don't think we can, bro. I don't think there's a way.
Not at this point. I agree with you. At this point, I think we're too far gone.
Yeah, I don't know because
if somebody gets on Twitter right now, right, and they're like, yeah, I like to have sex with 10-year-olds, and then I get on Twitter right now and I'm like, hey, Trump was the best fucking president ever, I'm gonna get doxxed before the pedophile.
Most likely. Well, yeah, most likely. I mean, I know Twitter has. I want to give a little credit to Twitter. They've been very and I'm just saying it for proper things, that they've been very anti pedophilia lately.
I'm just using that as an example.
Your point. No, but you're right. Yeah. You're right. And I just wanted to preface that because I think that's something they should get credit for. But yeah, no, it sucks. So for example, if you were to say, a person, map, right? The whole map thing. Like, no, they're not pedophiles. They're minor attractive persons, right? The whole map thing. Yeah, I know. That person who said that is still a professor, by the way. He has not been fired. He said that we should treat people with respect if they're a map person. But they did ban an account multiple times, the whole account of libs of TikTok, right? And I don't care how you feel about politics. All that account does is just repost things that people have posted, and they've been banned twice. No, like 4 times actually.
Mm.
Why? Because they're considered hate by just posting stuff that's already existing there. So yeah, it's crazy. Like why if you don't, as long as you don't cause harm, right? Like we don't have a good understanding what harmful is. If I was to come out and say something outrageous like I don't like LGBTQ, right?
Mm.
If I was to say something like that, that doesn't mean I hate them. That
No,
doesn't mean that I'm inciting violence.
no, but
If
you'll get doxxed for saying that shit.
100%, 100%. And honestly, maybe we do. There's always been religious fanatics on the Muslim side, on the Jewish side, on the Christian side, always. So if somebody comes up and says, "Look, I have no problem with the LGBTQ, but I don't want them around me because I'm very devout Catholic or whatever," whatever it is, you'll
Mm.
get doxxed for that. That's not
Yeah.
inciting hate, though. That's just
No.
voicing your opinion. And now you know not to fuck with this person because this person has some bigoted ideology.
Right. Yeah. If you're a gay relative, I don't think you should be going over there for Thanksgiving. Probably not have a great time. Just saying. You know. But
Like I don't know, man. That's I've seen a lot of people who posted opinions. I like Twitter a lot, a lot. Like it's probably my favorite place to go to because, you can see I hate media personally, but in Twitter, if I'm interested in Ukraine, I could just type Ukraine and I'll see people posting right from the front line or from their homes, and I feel like it's a better understanding of the world. Could it be flawed, right? That's just how I feel. So, I've seen a ton of people get doxxed, right? Where people post their house addresses and their phone numbers and they call their jobs and they're like, well, this person said this and now they lose their jobs. And it's just how fragile are you? You know what
yeah,
I mean?
I think that goes back to the societal problem that we were talking about earlier, though.
But here's the kicker. I find myself feeling that way lately and I can't control it. And it sucks because I try to provide I try to have a little more rational be a little more rational, but I'm telling you, when I saw that video from Marjorie Taylor Greene, I am letting you know if there was a way for me to hurt that person, I would have hurt her. And I think that's why I got banned. I let my emotions get the best of me because we live in a world where there's so much fakeness around that you just feel like you're attacked. When I see somebody like a piece of shit like this lady who literally has the brain of a walnut, post and say some shit about troops who are there with fake limbs that that it's embarrassing and that they're begging and shit like that. Like I'm telling you right now, and I got banned for this is why I got banned from Twitter. I meant it. Like I would have hurt that lady if she was in front of me. I would have probably broken every cardinal rule and punched her right in the fucking jaw. And you know why? And I don't know why. Because I don't know why. That's not who I am as a person. You know me very well. I'm very rational. I think things out. I actually don't like confrontation. You know this. Like how many times have we talked? Like, hey, let's not do this or do that because that's who I am as a person. But I'm starting to lose
Yeah, you've
my
you've walked
ability.
me you've walked me down more than anything.
But now I'm telling you, like I'm finding myself, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's too much free speech, and I'm just not
What
handling
was
it right,
that?
or
What was that movie with Michael Douglas where he lost his shit and just went around and started killing people?
I don't know. Vic would
What was
probably
that
know this.
movie, Vic?
That's funny. I don't. I'm like falling down.
Falling Down.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he was like the office worker and just started like just fucking losing his mind. I think I might have found a solution to this problem though. Um,
Talk to me.
I was reading breakfast at 11:31. Yeah, that's it. Falling Down. That's it right there. Yep. I just had to look it up real quick, but I think I might have found a solution to this problem.
Talk to me.
No, I just thought it was. I thought it was named something different, Vic. I didn't doubt you. I promise. For some, I always get that movie mixed in with a different one. I don't know. Whatever. I think we should bring back duels.
Battle to death.
No, like old school, like 1700s. Andrew Jackson, flintlock pistol. Walk 15 paces, turn around, shoot. White glove, yeah, duels.
That would be
Andrew
some
Jackson,
funny shit.
look, Andrew Jackson was in 100 of them motherfuckers because his wife was ugly.
That's funny and
That's
mean,
true.
but that's funny. It
No,
is
it's
true.
true. Many of them were in defense of his wife Rachel, who was a frequent object of ridicule, and malicious rumors. She was ugly, and Andrew Jackson, old
What?
Hickory, was like, "You ain't gonna talk about my bitch like that." So he was like, "Yeah, but it was like 17 or 18 something, Vic. Like, I don't think there was this much poom poom running around. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying, starting out there. He was like,
What?
yeah, I found this poom
Was she
poom. This
loose?
is fine. No, I think she was just ugly. I really think she was just ugly. But Andrew Jackson was not having it, bro. My man was a president in over 100 duels. That's freedom of speech with consequence. Yeah, you can talk shit about my wife, but bitch, we're gonna be shooting at each other from 10 feet away.
I'm sorry, but that's some gangster shit.
It is super gangster as fuck.
Like, I'm okay. Bring back the duels.
Bring back the duels, flintlock pistols. Let's do it.
I'm trying to find that one post because it's insane. You guys got to see it, but I'll send it to Vic when I do. That's why I'm looking down. But that's the shorty that caused the beef.
Yeah, that's his wife. She was homely. Bless her heart.
You know what she looks like?
A dude.
No, yeah. You remember the movie Little Nicky when he gives Satan gives his dad the breasts in the head? That's exactly what she looks like.
Oh my god, that's so
Tell me not.
funny.
Oh
That is
man.
funny.
I don't know why I love that movie, by the way.
A shaven Zach Galifianakis.
I don't know, man. This is the sad part. I don't think we could fix it. I think we could express what we think, but there's no fixing it. It's almost impossible to fix this shit. Like there, and it's personal too. There's things that bother you. Oh, here. So she said, it's heartbreaking to see these disabled Ukrainian soldiers here in the halls of Congress being used as pawns to pressure our Congress to give Americans hard-earned money, tax dollars to Zelensky. I'm calling for an audit of funds to Ukraine and to fund a secure border. And she's having a video of people with no fucking limbs. And my beef with her is that why did you say, she's very careful in her words. She's like Congress to give American hard-to-earn tax dollars to Zelensky, like as if he's putting it in his fucking bank account. As if they're not in a fucking war. As if the weapons that we give them, we don't see the results of it. Like we see the fucking results. 54% of the occupied territory is taken back already. You know what I mean? Like shit like that is just fucked up. But now that's her freedom of speech though. That's her right of saying it.
Right.
I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like I would legit punch her in the fucking throat when I saw that video.
Right. But it's also threatening harm against somebody, and
I was threatening harm for sure. Like I'm not taking it back. I'm telling you, if she was in front of me, like I would have lost all composure. Because it's easy for a piece of shit cunt like herself, right, who has never experienced anything like that, just to sit there and talk reckless shit.
but don't you feel like that's what it is most of the time though? It's people who've never experienced anything that always have the most comments about it.
Yes, but you could have a constructive comment. All right, like you could say things like, I've never been to war, but doesn't look easy. Or you could say like I've never been to war, but if the country got invaded, I'll shoot a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like you could say shit like that. You cannot post a picture of two fucking Ukrainian and call them pawns. When they came to a country, people forget this shit too. Like this is the thing that bothers me. Like she's a congresswoman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says America first. Vic, I actually sent you the clip if you want to post it because I'm gonna go on a 1 minute rant because this is important.
It's not going to be a minute.
It's going to be less than a minute because it's actually very precise and you're going to love this. You ready? Count it down.
Yeah, go.
She's a congresswoman who has been talking relentlessly about protecting U.S. borders and protecting U.S. national interests, saying that Ukraine is not an ally and we don't need to do it. Did she say the same shit when Ukrainians lost soldiers in Iraq, which was an illegitimate war? Do people forget that Ukraine sent forces into Iraq?
I think most people don't know that.
Well, that's fucked up. Like, so we asked them to fight our war, but now we're not even sending soldiers there. We're just sending weapons and helping them protect their civilians against somebody we have considered an adversary since the fucking Second World War. So this is why I'm upset. Ukrainian soldiers died in Iraq. Were the thousands? No, there was 3 or 4 deaths, if I'm not mistaken. But there were combat deaths. Okay,
Mm.
so we had dead Ukrainians in a war in Iraq, which was illegitimate as fuck. But we didn't complain about that. But she could post that. So you see where my beef is with the freedom of speech. Is like we're
You're
uneducated.
over a minute.
No, I wasn't. I had about 12 more seconds. No, you bullshit. My rant was over anyway. I was expressing my views on my rant.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's my point.
You went over. Yeah. But no, it's a good point. It's a solid point, though. No, he started at 18 seconds. I watched. I counted down. No, he started at 18.
I started at 23, but it's okay.
Time stamp it. I want to go back and time stamp it. I counted it at 121.18. But yeah, no. I think that's a fair point, But again, most people don't know that, especially here in the U.S., right? Most people don't realize of all the coalition forces that were in Iraq. So they make comments like that and feel good behind them because they don't understand that those soldiers were there as well. Like you said, it wasn't hundreds. I think it was like 4, like right around what
I think it was
said,
4,
right? Yeah. But the Americans that are in Ukraine now, they're not there as direct reports, right? You hate the NT.
G clip. I hate it too.
I think he said he has it.
Oh, I have it. Yeah, you could play it.
Go ahead and play it.
Just remember that these people from the same battalion that these people are from fought in Iraq, and that's not these particular soldiers, but the battalion, right? Let's not make up rumors, but this is the thing that hurts me, and it's like you have a freedom to say whatever you want, and you should have that freedom. But a lot of people watch this shit. Look, just waiting for Victor to play. Victor, you gotta press play. There's a little button in the middle. Maybe. Yeah. Move your mouse to the middle. Press play.
I did press play. It's not playing on my side. Hold on. It's playing on one side.
Sorry, but.
Well, the mouse is frozen.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I use as an example. Look at that. These are people who don't. The man has no limb on the one person, and the other person I think is missing a part of his arm or something like that. What pawns? These are people who fought for your freedom, right? When we went to Iraq, all of America was united, but we lie. This is where the problem is with free speech, is that people don't have any honor anymore. So if you remember, one thing I liked about the Game of Thrones series, right? Like Jon Snow would always say, "I can't," like when they had that whole meeting where they asked them to not bend the knee to Daenerys and basically say that he won't fight with Daenerys, right? And he said, "Well, I can't say that. I already pledged my loyalty. Like, I'm not a liar." And everybody's like, "Yo, you could lie sometimes. Like, you just cost us everything." People had honor. People had respect. So if you disagree with somebody, you had to do your research. If you were gonna say something, you had something to back it up. You weren't just saying shit just to be an asshole. And that's what bothers me about that. So when I saw that, I lost everything. You know what I mean? I lost my whole understanding of freedom of speech. I was just angry. But I don't know. Your thoughts?
I think most people are pieces of shit now.
I agree.
Right? And it goes like to kind of go off what you were saying. You used to be able to shake a person's hand and that was it. Deal was done. You can't do that anymore. You need lawyers and paperwork and all this shit because somebody's going to try to weasel out of it or make the deal better for them on the back end, right? And I think that directly relates to freedom of speech, or I feel like it does, because freedom of speech is according to our Constitution, it's a God-given right, right? It's not a right that's granted by man; it's a right that's granted by God. But at the same time, freedom of speech is just as volatile, dangerous as the Second Amendment, right?
Yep.
words can be used just like firearms for people, and people, you can't say, oh, nobody's ever died from words. There's 6 million fucking Jews in 1940 that would disagree with you,
Yep.
right? And I think that we put a lot of judgment on, I'm going to keep going with that, on people, firearms. Oh, they're dangerous, we shouldn't have them. Da-da-da-da. Let me tell you something. If firearms go, your freedom of speech is next, because they're
Oh,
going
it's
to,
dead.
yeah. You're yeah, well, according to Mr. West, yeah, he's a fucking cocksucker too, so whatever.
But but you get, and the whole woke thing is actually, to your point, it's terrible. Like, you feel like he feels like he's woke. Like, oh, I'm not buying the Kool-Aid, and it's like, the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like,
I think Kanye, my thing about like going back to Kanye West is he needs a good fucking therapist. Like, we need to defreeze Sigmund Freud. He's frozen, right? I think he's frozen. We need to
maybe,
unfreeze that motherfucker and get him to talk to Kanye. I
yeah.
think Kanye, if he wasn't famous, would be in a fucking padded room with a jacket that makes him hug himself.
But here's the thing: should he have lost $1 billion for what he said?
It doesn't matter. That's his consequence for what he said.
No, I understand, but you were talking about doxing before, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think he's a piece of shit. I really don't give a fuck about him. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to find a balance, and I can't find it in
There,
myself.
there
You
is
get
no
what I'm
balance
saying?
though. There is no balance though. That's where you're fucking up. There is no balance. If you want pure, unadulterated freedom of speech, be prepared to lose everything that you have, because
Sure.
that's what it's going to cost you, right? He wants to get out there and spread his belief, which is that Hitler was an all right guy or whatever the fuck he was saying. Cool. It just cost you $1 billion for you spreading your opinion,
No, I agree.
you know. And you can go back to, I don't know about your grandma, but my grandparents always taught me, you got 2 ears and one mouth for a fucking reason.
Yep.
You learn to shut the fuck up and listen more than you talk. And in that case with him, he needs to fucking listen more than he speaks, because whenever he opens his mouth, he gets in fucking trouble. Now, he has the right to say what he wants to say. Doesn't mean that he won't get hit in the fucking mouth for it. And Adidas hit him in the pocketbook.
So now here's my question, and now we're getting a little deeper. So Kanye said that he likes Hitler, so he got doxxed, right? And he
Yeah.
deserved it.
He got canceled,
Should a
docs, whatever. Sure.
should a person who might voice some anti-trans words without inciting hate, without saying "go kill everybody," right? Somebody who says, "I am not comfortable with trans people being on my kid's school," right? That's according to Twitter, for example. That's hate speech, right?
Sure.
Should that person be doxxed the same way as Kanye?
It's not my call. People were escaping religious persecution jail for talking shit about kings and not allowed to meet and discuss it. Yeah, exactly. But
But hold
the
on, it
woke
has
the
to be
woke
your call.
mob, huh?
It has to be your call.
Is it?
Yes, because we're talking about freedom of speech. So if you're free to
So
express
let me
yourself,
let me let me give you an example,
yeah,
right? My daughter starts going to elementary school, right?
yep,
And they have what is that shit they're doing in New York? The story time, drag queen story time or
yeah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right? And I go to the school board. I'm like, hey, I don't want my kid a part of this. Oh, what do you have a problem with drag queens, Mr. Katsikos? No, it's not that I have an issue with drag queens. I really don't give a shit what they do. I just don't want it around my kid. Oh, we're gonna cancel you for that. All right, well, fuck it, cancel me then.
Yes, but you say that now because maybe you're in a position, but people don't have that back. Like, you lose your job and then you can't feed your family and you're on the street because
Right?
you voiced
Is
an
it
opinion.
is it is it a hill worth dying on?
Yes, for me it is. Like, I don't
Okay,
want, like,
so and for me it is too though, right?
sure, but like, you shouldn't be punished, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, where's the balance? Like, what's the
Okay, so
egregious shit?
but
What's
that's not, when you're getting into that. You should or you shouldn't,
I
or
agree. That's where it gets
shit like
complicated.
that.
I
That's where it gets
agree.
complicated. But that's a societal issue. That's not a free speech issue, right? As society, we've allowed this. As society, we've allowed a lot of shit to go unchecked. We don't police ourselves anymore. I'm not talking about policing ourselves like criminally, right? Socially, we don't keep each other in check anymore. It's like, hey, whatever the fuck you want to do, go ape shit with it, whatever, right? Like for instance, one of my wife's funnest times she would have every year is going to the gay pride parade festival thing with her friends, right?
Sure.
I never had a problem with it. Whatever. Do I want to go? Nah, I don't really care. Right? It's not really my cup of tea. Whatever. Don't have a problem with it, but whatever. One year, right when the kid was born, she wanted to take the kid. I said, absolutely not. That's not a place for children. It's not. And
Sure.
that's the way I felt. We got into a huge argument over it, and I was choosing that hill to die on. Right? I think it goes back to what your parents always taught you also, where it's pick your battles. Right?
Yes, but I shouldn't have to. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about freedom. This is freedom of speech, how they intended it in the Constitution, right? This is I don't like this. Now there's different ways of saying it. Like who differentiates? Now, if I was to say, if you were to say to your wife, for example, like if you go to this parade, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth at anybody you friends with because I don't fucking like these f words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, then that's inciting violence. Then your freedom of speech is actually now becoming a hate crime, and I get that. But when you say like, hey, listen, please go have a good time, but I just think Semper's a little too young for something like that. This is not an appropriate place for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between you and me, that's a normal conversation between the two parents. But in
Right.
California, they will probably take your kid away.
Right. But that's my point though. That goes along with what I just said, where that's a societal problem.
But it's a
That's not a
societal.
free.
It's a
That's not a
negative societal response to freedom of speech, though.
right. But it's not. It's not a freedom of speech issue at that point.
It is because you don't like
Mm-mm.
what I
I
said. It all
I
starts
dis
from what.
I disagree though. I disagree. So, and this is why I disagree. Right. What is your freedom of speech? Your freedom of speech is your freedom to say what you want, what you believe.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
When it comes down to a societal issue, that's where we start getting
No,
into.
you left out a very important thing that you read earlier. You read the definition. It's your freedom of speech
Mhm.
without persecution.
Without
This is
persecution, but without not without consequence.
sure, but the consequence can't be when somebody just expresses an opinion. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
There's
that's
consequences. No, 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 Nico. Let's go back to our roots, right?
sure.
Philosophy, Stoic philosophy, right?
Yeah,
There's consequences for everything.
sure. Every action has a reaction. I get it.
Yeah. Now, some of those consequences can be positive. So, some of those consequences can be positive. Some of those consequences are going to be negative, right?
Okay,
Doesn't change
let
the
me.
fact that
So
there's
here's
consequences for everything.
want to play this game. We could do it. I'm with you 100%. So here's the thing. My response to that is, who gives us consequences? So if I say I don't like this, and you say, well, oh my god, that's terrible. I'm done with you.
Mhm.
Okay, but when
Right.
there's a reaction, there's a large reaction to it.
So, and I'll give you another example from the society that you call the thieves, the
That's
Romans.
it.
It's mob rule. That's where we're at right now, and
Sure, no
that's why
disagreement there.
that's why things are the way they are in this society now. Is because we don't have leadership anymore. We
No,
haven't. We haven't.
no,
Trump was indecisive, not indecisive, but he was too polarizing. That wasn't leadership either, right?
no.
We are a country that's run by mob rule right now, and right now the mob is running wild. All forms of decency are out the fucking window at this point.
The fact that we had to pass, the fact that the president of the United States had to sign a fucking law yesterday that allows for interracial marriage it's an embarrassment to the country that we had to get to that point. You
Yeah,
and I will both have it be illegal right now. You know what I mean? Because we're both in an interracial marriage.
right,
You just think about that. Like the country had to come together and be like, "Yo, let's pass this law because these people coming in are kind of nuts."
right.
And I'm
But and
like,
I'm
"What the
glad.
fuck?"
No, but you know what though? You know why that came about is because of Roe v. Wade.
Sure,
Because Congress for a long time was on a power trip and they were just pushing shit through, not abiding by the rule of the land, right? Which is no, this needs to be ratified into a law. You can't just
You
rule
mean the
on it.
Supreme Court? Yeah, the
Supreme
Supreme
Court,
Court was the
excuse
one.
me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Supreme Court, excuse me. No, it had to be ratified by Congress. Roe v.
Hmm.
Wade, abortion, whether you agree with it or not, was never ratified by Congress into a law.
Correct.
And that's why it was repelled
Correct.
earlier this year. And this is what I'm talking about. This is where you get mob rule, you get weak leadership, and things start going fucking off the rails, right? Before this whole shit, these last two administrations, had anybody questioned really the legality behind Roe v. Wade? Yeah, sure, people disagreed with it, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to overturn it," but nobody ever brought up the fact that it wasn't ratified. They were like, "Hey, this is what it is.
Move on. Yeah,
Move on." and then you had certain states that were like, "Hey, we're going to put this in effect," which are dead drop laws. Where this ever gets repealed or rejected, then these laws would go into effect immediately. But nobody was really paying fucking attention to it, to be honest. And
it
same thing
wasn't.
with
Yeah,
love. Same thing with Love versus Virginia, which is the interracial marriage.
duration of marriage.
Nobody, no fucking person was like, "Hey, we need to ratify this because this might become an issue later on," until Roe v. Wade got fucking pushed back. And they're like, "Oh shit, we never made this a law." Whose fault is that? That's
Well,
Congress's fault.
yeah, for
They're too
sure. But
busy.
that's weak leadership.
They're too busy patting their own fucking pockets instead of doing the right thing.
And also, there's no compromise, man. We had this whole podcast when we talked about Roe v. Wade. There's no compromise either. She was like, God forbid they get together to do something right for the country and they look weak to their fucking base. And Americans are stupid too because we do not ask for our leadership to work together. For example, it's like, oh, we can't give this to get that, and it's like, well, you can't have anything either. Unfortunately, for your side, whichever side it is, there's another half of the country that completely disagrees with you. So the balance will be somewhere in the middle. You can't have it all. You know what I mean? So they should have been like, well, you can't kill a baby after 3 months, but we can't stop all abortions, whatever that was. But but here's the thing: when you talk about freedom of speech, man, you need to make sure that the response to it is appropriate in regards to your first speech and your First Amendment rights. You should, legally, you shouldn't be able to dox me or fire or get me fired from my job because of my beliefs. That's not even a law. Like, that's a terrible thing to do, unless you're inciting violence. And I know I'm going to say this again, but I saw this other thing. There's another case in the Supreme Court. Now that we're talking about it, right? About affirmative action. And I'll tell you, I've read a couple of briefs between both sides, and honestly, I'm in the middle. I understand why we had affirmative action, but I also understand there's some really negative shit about that as well. Maybe because I'm white, I don't know, but that's what I've been told. but people who were like, well, affirmative action is not fair to specific type of students, and it takes away spots from very good students. Those people who had a valid argument, whether you agree with it or not, whether it's valid to you, were doxxed. They were literally banned off Twitter. They were labeled as racists. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Another example, the Brittany Griner thing. Of course, I am very happy she's back home. Why would I not want her to be back home? But I didn't. No. Look, every American should be back home. I just hope she's a little more appreciative and of the country that she hated so much.
Let me tell you something.
But here's the thing, though.
I don't. No. I don't give a shit. You know why? I'll tell you why I don't give a shit. You had your little rant. I'm gonna go on mine. That's not her first time in Russia. She goes to Russia every year to play ball. She knows the laws. You went to another country that you're familiar with. That you're not. This is not your first time. If this was like her first or second time going, yeah, no, let her go. The fuck you doing? Right? No, this was like her 15th fucking year going or her 10th year going. It was some shit like that. She has been multiple times. Right? You know the laws. You decided to break that law. No. Do I think 9 years is excessive? Sure.
Yeah, of course. But I was going somewhere else with that. I was called a racist. Like, legitimately, I was added into a group on Twitter called The Racist because what I said was, that's my direct quotes. I was like, although I'm very happy she's home and she should be home like every other American, we traded a very well known terrorists that will go back to Russia and start killing people again. Was it worth it? It was her mistake. Now, could have we been done a little bit better to get her out? Sure, that's where leadership comes in. But my freedom of speech was used against me, right? Because I voiced an opinion. I was immediately added to a racist group. I thought it was hilarious, but you know what I mean? Like at the same time, it's like you can't have a conversation if it's not your way. If it's not the other person's way, then you're a racist
Right, but
immediately.
that goes back to the societal issue, Nico. That's a societal. Oh, I don't like what you said, so I'm going to cancel you.
Sure.
People are thin skinned now. That's the problem. When shit hits the fan here, which it's going to eventually, I don't know if it's going to be. It could be next week. It could be another, 200 years from now. But when people finally, when shit hits the fan, a lot of these people are going to be in for a rude fucking awakening because they're going to be sitting there, they're going to be, oh, I'm woke. I think this about society and this and all this bullshit. Hey, man, when you got to go out there and hunt for your family. Nobody gives a fuck about what you think about gay people or LGBTQs or Brittany Griner and shit like that. People, and I think a lot of that has to deal with social media too, right? Social media has made people super entitled to feel like their opinion
Yes.
matters when it doesn't, when it fucking doesn't.
Yep.
And that's where you
But
get
I'm
the
guilty
back.
for it, you know. I'm guilty too. I'm not perfect. I've given you plenty of examples. I'm so lost into this trenches. Like I'm confused.
Yeah. I don't, I have social media. I have social media for funny shit. I don't really post on it. I send videos to my buddies, but that's it. Like I don't really post on there like that. But
Maybe because I'm a little more emotionally involved with this Ukraine thing. I only posted about BlackBerry and because that was my favorite thing, and Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like, and
yeah,
nothing controversial. It was just like, hey, good goal, or I like my team and stuff like that. I never really got into politics and shit, but the Ukraine thing bothers me a lot because it's so clear, but we muddy the waters just to support idiots. You know what I mean? Like it hurts my feelings, and honestly, judge me all you want. I love Tucker Carlson. He was one of my heroes.
mm.
You said you didn't care for. I loved him, man. I thought he was amazing. I thought
No, I
that
said I didn't care for his rhetoric, but
you
he's
know what I mean.
actually
I thought he was.
from. Yeah, he's actually a sweetheart of a man.
Was he a sweetheart of a man when he asked Hunter Biden to help his kids? Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody does this shit. Don't come up from some moral high ground that you don't even belong. But he started spreading lies that affected people. Like
You
for
know,
example, his lies.
look, let me tell you something
Twitter.
about Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's
Talk to me.
Southern Baptist. Tucker Carlson's Southern Baptist. That motherfucker's always going to be on the high horse.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a man. He's a very very nice individual. If you ever meet him in person, he's actually very very nice. Vic.
He puts a that is true. He puts a fake persona on his show. But my thing is like, hey, you can't talk to people and complain about Ukraine being corrupt when you literally beg the guy you are complaining about to help your kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
You
But
know, you can't be saying things just because Tulsi Gabbard is another one. I used to love Tulsi Gabbard. As a Democrat, I loved her. You know what I mean? But
I
now
still
it's
love
like
Tulsi.
I can't stand that. I mean, I think she's hot. Like, don't get me wrong. I think she's gorgeous, but she's a puppet. Like, she's an actual puppet. Like, legit. I don't know if she's a traitor, like Mitt Romney said, another moron. But she's a puppet. She's
I'm
a
not listening to a guy who wears magical underwear.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't mess with Mitt Romney either. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
But we're getting close to that hour 45.
Yep. So let me ask you this: on part two of this, what
Mhm.
would you like to get into to kind of tease the peoples?
So, what we got part two will get a little more serious. I think we're gonna bring out some definitions. I think we're gonna. I wanna bring some stuff up from like Berkeley, UC back in the day when the liberal culture was very pro free speech. Like let us say what we want to say, and how
Mm-hmm.
the progression and the timeline has changed. But I would like that episode to be a little more structured. Obviously, like we discussed, like a little more you know, on point where we don't go on these crazy rants. But I want us to get a little more serious because, like I said, we needed this kind of catharsis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're still very confused, and like just talking about it feels better. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like freeing. But
Frank,
I want
yeah.
to, yeah, I want to also formulate a better thought. I feel like I was just. It's hard, man. It's hard because I catch myself losing some of my
You
values, and I don't like that.
you yeah, you're the emotional one of this duo, and I don't mean
Sure,
that in
for
a
sure.
negative way
No, no,
at
it's very
all,
true. We know that.
right? I'm very
100%.
I'm able to take myself out of it and then say, give my opinions
Sure, sure.
as straight down the line as I try to. But no, I enjoyed the conversation. We'll get into more detailed nuance about it on the next show. We'll actually pull some. I'd like to pull some written opinions and things like
Yep.
that, and reference that, and we can get into it, the history of it, especially like the liberal history of it, like you mentioned at Berkeley and everything back in the 60s and 70s, and how it was portraying then. We can get into Kent State as well, because that whole
Can't say.
shooting
Yeah.
basically
Yep.
happened over protest, which is freedom of speech.
Yep.
I would also like to touch on the Black Panthers, the original Black Panthers who marched on the state
Freedom of
capitol.
speech.
Yep,
Yep.
marched on the state
Yep.
capitol with firearms and everything, because that goes Second Amendment and freedom of speech hand in hand. That's another thing I want to touch on in the next episode, is how the First and Second Amendment go hand in hand, and we don't have one without the other,
Correct.
and the importance of that as well. But hey, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We definitely appreciate you tuning in, being active in the chat. We appreciate all that as well. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for detention, where there is all the fuckery that occurs.
Okay,
And
question for you. Very important.
you,
Do you feel like the Detention Podcast has freedom of speech?
No, I think that Vic rules it with an iron fist. Everything is exactly scripted. No, of course, yeah. Those guys, they talk about wild shit, and I love it. I love the fact that
Talking
they put
about
out.
wild shit, though. Talking about wild shit. You guys trust me on this. Trust me. You want to turn in on Friday. We're gonna have the High's the Limit show. It's a new show with Kim, no eye holes, and it's going to be amazing. If you know Kim, you know she's dope as fuck, and I just can't wait for that. This is not a plug. This is just me being excited as hell to watch this show. So this, I hope you guys enjoy it for sure. But turn it on Friday. But back to your fascism at its
Fast is
finest.
his finest. Vic is the Mussolini of Thursday night detention.
I think it's more of a Hitler, and Gus is Mussolini, like his little brother.
No. Gus is like the king of Spain. He's just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. Let's do this shit. Oh, you guys need to
Oh,
flee to Brazil. I got you.
I got
By the
you.
way, I do want to do a show on that one day about how Hitler didn't die in
Argentina, how
Germany.
all
Yeah,
the Nazis went to Argentina,
yeah, and Hitler died of
and
old
now they think
age.
they're white, and that's why they all look like German Nazis when they win this World Cup. I'm with you. We
And
could do one.
and they speak German fluent.
And a historical footnote. Gus would be
Yes.
Hirohito, the height thing.
Yes, Mitch, he would. That's yes, 100%. I'm with it. All right,
That's some
everybody.
funny
Well,
shit.
hey, again, appreciate you hanging out with us. I hope everybody has a great night. Good luck. Godspeed.
Peace.